Hey guys, this is Chaos Chrono back again with another deck opening. We're on to deck number 4 of our Dark Tidings unboxings. The last one was a little disappointing to me on review, but hopefully we'll have better luck today. For today's deck, we have She Who Gregariously Beautifies Trees. It's an Unfathomable, Shadows, and Sanctum deck. Purple Archon, so that's always a good indicator, right? Let's get this opened up and see what we got. Alright, starting with Unfathomable, we have Sink or Swim. It's an action, play, choose one. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand, or exhaust a creature and each of its neighbors. Portal, it's an action, and whenever you play it, if the tide is high, archive Portal. Otherwise, raise the tide. Great card. Photic Raider, 2-power creature with play, capture 2 Amber. While the tide is high, Photic Raider gets +4 power. 2 copies of that. Guiltspine Netcaster, also a 2-power creature that enhances 2 capture icons into the deck, and it has Reap, exhaust a creature. Frigorific Rod, it's an artifact, Amber whenever you play it. Action, exhaust a creature or artifact. Flamegill Enforcer, 6-power creature. After your opponent raises the tide, enrage Flamegill Enforcer, and as an action, capture 3 Amber. Call of the Void, it's an action, Amber whenever you play it, exhaust a creature. If it was already exhausted, destroy it instead, and its controller loses 1 Amber. Brain Drain, it's an action, Amber whenever you play it, look at the opponent's hand, choose a card from it, and put it on top of their deck. Tomwa of the Glow, 3-power creature with Reap, exhaust a creature. If the tide is high, draw a card for each exhausted enemy creature. Very nice. Illusions of Grandeur, it's an action, Amber whenever you play it, choose a house on your opponent's identity card. If your opponent does not choose that house as their active house on their next turn, gain 3 Amber. General Sherman, it's a 10-power creature. General Sherman deals no damage when fighting, and as a play effect, purge each other creature. If General Sherman leaves play, return to play each creature purged this way. Cool. Moving on to Shadows, we have Shoulder ID, 6-power creature with Taunt. Shoulder ID cannot fight, and when Shoulder ID would deal damage, steal 1 Amber instead. Loot or Pillage, it's an action, choose one, steal an Amber, or a friendly creature captures 3 Amber. Wallop, it's an action, deal 1 damage to each creature, gain 1 Amber for each creature destroyed this way. Hornswoggle, it's an action, Amber whenever you play it, use an enemy artifact as if it were yours. 2 copies of Hornswoggle. Hobnobber, it's a 3-power creature with action, if your opponent has 6 Amber or more, steal 2 Amber. Trickle Down Theory, it's an artifact. When you play it, raise the tide, and as an Omni effect, gain 1 Amber if your opponent has 6 Amber or more. The Flying Spectre, bit of deja vu from the last deck. After your opponent raises the tide, destroy the Flying Spectre. And action, steal 1 Amber if the tide is high. Ransack, it's an action, steal 1 Amber, discard the top card of the deck. If that card is a Shadows card, trigger this effect again. Monty Bank, it's a 1-power creature with play. You may exalt Monty Bank up to 2 times, and as an action, steal 1 Amber for each Amber on Monty Bank. Master Plan, it's an artifact, Amber whenever you play it. When you play it, put a card from your hand face down under Master Plan. And Omni effect, play the card under Master Plan, destroy Master Plan. Early Birds, it's an action with 2 Amber pips and a capture icon that's enhanced, I believe. It's an alpha card, ready each Shadows card. Oh cool, it's a counter to Unfathomable. Moving on to Sanctum, we have Taxing Journey. It's an action, Amber whenever you play it, and enhance with a capture icon. A friendly creature captures 1 Amber. Each of its neighbors that shares a house with it also captures 1 Amber. Celestial Sargassa, 6 power creature with 2 armor, also enhanced with a capture icon. After a player raises the tide, a creature they control captures 2 amber from their opponent. Hammergram, it's an action, deal 3 damage to a creature and stun it. Shoulder Armor, it's an upgrade, amber whenever you play it. While this creature is on a flank, it gets +2 armor and +2 power. Radiant Truth, amber whenever you play it, it's an action, stun each enemy creature not on a flank. Light Everlasting, it's an action, amber whenever you play it, play a Sanctum creature from your discard pile anywhere in your battle line. So deploy a creature, cool. Honor or Glory, play, choose one. Deal 3 damage to each flank creature, or deal 3 damage to each creature not on a flank. Cool. Hold Fast, 6 power creature. After one of Hold Fast's neighbors is dealt damage, ready Hold Fast. Alright. Gatekeeper, 5 power, 1 armor creature. If the opponent has 7 amber or more, capture all but 5 of it. Doorstep to Heaven, amber whenever you play, it's an action. Each player with 6 amber or more loses all but 5 of it. And Bring Low, it's also an action, amber whenever you play it. It enhances a capture icon, and play capture all but 5 of your opponent's amber distributed among any number of friendly creatures. 3 cards in a row that captures all but 5 of your opponent's amber. Or brings it down to 5. And I think the last card is Lord Golgotha, 5 power, 2 armor creature. Before fight, deal 3 damage to each neighbor of the creature Lord Golgotha fights. And that is it for the deck. So let's get this organized and see what we got. Alright, starting with Amber Generation. We have a good number of pips here. 15 pips of Amber, which is pretty high. And we have every other card in Shadows that has potential to steal or net us some Amber. So I'll estimate a 23 as a base for Amber Generation. Moving on to Amber Control, we have 3 cards from Unfathomable, 3 cards from Shadows, and 5 cards from Sanctum that directly impact the opponent's Amber. Most of the Amber Control is capture based, with a bit of steal and a bit of making the opponent lose the Amber. We have 3 cards that are strong Amber Control, Gatekeeper, Bring Low, and Doorstep to Heaven. Unfortunately, they're all in Sanctum, so that obviously requires you to call that house in order to play it. However, it's nice to have them. So at the base we have 11 for Amber Control so far. We have Flame Guild Enforcer that has the action to capture 3, assuming he doesn't get enraged. Monty Bank, which is a bit of a risky play to exalt it and then try to steal with it. We have Shoulder ID if the opponent attacks, and we have an artifact and another creature that has action abilities that allow us to steal. So assuming they all count, that can bring up the total to about 16, but I'm going to rate it about a 12, just based off of what's consistent, and even with that number, it's pretty good. Alright, starting with artifact control, we have Frigorific Rod that can exhaust the creature or an artifact, and 2 copies of Hornswoggle, which allow you to use an enemy's artifact. It doesn't have removal of artifacts, so any permanent effect artifact like Quicksilver Stone or Fangtooth Cavern, all those effects will stick around regardless, as they don't have a use function, but it's still a nice artifact control to have. All in all, it's a 1.5 for control for the rating, but I would have liked to see some sort of removal as well. For creature control, we have 7 cards that can do quite a bit of damage to the opponent's board. Some are exhaustion based, some are damage based and destruction based, others are stun based. The 1 10 power creature that can purge everything, that's another temporary removal of the board for the opponent, but no true wipe, once again, to destroy everything, put it into the discard pile so it doesn't come back very easily. And in the second lane we have a bunch of creatures as well as an upgrade that can help with fighting. Overall I'll rate the creature control at about a 9, but just missing that 1 wipe. For speed, the main card is Tanwa of the Glow with his Reap effect to exhaust a creature, and if the tide is high, you can draw based off the number of enemy exhausted creatures. We also have Master Plan that really helps with efficiency. Ransack kind of helps because you're discarding at least 1 card, though it may not be a favorable discard. And we have Light Everlasting that lets you play a creature from your discard pile. So that's a bit more on efficiency rather than pure speed, as at the beginning of the game, that's not going to be as valuable for you. So just based off that, I'll rate the speed at about a 3. We also have a bunch of cards that help with disrupting the opponent, while ignoring the exhaust functions, purge and whatnot, or using your opponent's things. Sink or Swim, Brain Drain, Illusions of Grandeur kind of eliminate options for your opponent, so those are great disruptive cards. And finally, looking at Portal and Trickle Down Theory, those are the 2 cards that affect the tide for free. Somewhat limited in terms of tide control, so within the set, a little less ideal, and well, we're likely going to be playing with chains. So the higher Amber generation and control is definitely going to be useful in the long run. But let's take a look at what combos and highlights this deck has. Alright, looking at the combos of this deck, Tonwa of the Glow is definitely one of the main cards in Unfathomable to help with efficiency, getting our draw power up. And there are 4 cards underneath that directly can exhaust a creature, or a bunch of creatures actually. So having those cards in hand on a turn when Tonwa is ready to reap is very good. But that is still 1 turn to wait for, and having the right number of cards to exhaust all your enemy creatures is a little troublesome. There isn't really like a full board exhaust card that is in this deck, so there's going to be a limited number of cards that you could draw. General Sherman is a point of interest as well. Just being able to purge the entire board, even if at least temporarily, is great utility. Next is Master Plan. Always a great card to have, and especially with the several large Amber control cards, as long as you're not facing off against an opponent that can use your artifacts, those cards might be useful to put under the Master Plan. And another mention is Early Birds. I did notice that it says all Shadows cards. Generally speaking, it's not a big deal because they would have just ended their turn and readied everything up. Next we have Light Everlasting, the card that lets you bring back a creature, a Sanctum creature. We do have 4 targets for it. The main one would be Gatekeeper in terms of a play function, or the capture pip on that one other creature. Otherwise, it's just having another strong body on the board. The rest of Shadows is just simple steals and Amber control. So all in all, this deck doesn't feel too bad. There aren't a lot of big plays other than the big Amber control, but it does look like it has what it takes to take some wins. As for rating, overall I think it will be rated higher just because it has the tools necessary to address more variety of decks. So I'll rate it as a 72. I'll need to do some gameplay to see if it actually performs to the level, but it looks pretty good. With that being said, that's it for this deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As usual, be kind and happy forging.